Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Sayyid FAROOQ HASAN is back with a new episode of Sky is the Limit. By virtue of this program, ladies and gentlemen, I get to meet so many talented people with intellect, that sometimes I am mesmerized. And I consider it a national duty to bring the profiles of these people to all of you, so they might stir up an inspiration. Today I happen to be with a healthcare and medical education expert, a very, very interesting personality. He has been receiving awards from the President of Pakistan for excellent performance in this field, in overall healthcare sector and healthcare digitalization. And he has also been named in the top 100 Chief Executive Officers of Pakistan by the UK-based CEO Club's Pakistan chapter. I happen to be with Mr. Yasir Khan Niazi. Let's talk to him. Assalamu alaikum, Yasir bhai.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much for having me.
What a pleasure. I had a brief encounter with you, but there's so much to share. I don't know where to start from. But just to give a base, Yasir bhai was born in Saudi, and he did his degree in engineering, joined the financial sector, and right now he is doing healthcare. So that in itself is an amazing diversity. We'll talk about all of that. But before that, Yasir bhai, please tell us something about your early childhood. You were born in Saudi, a different culture and very different from Pakistan. How was it?
It was very different, very nice. And Saudi Arabia is a very nice place to grow up.
You were in Jeddah?
In Jeddah, especially Jeddah, because Jeddah is, because of being gateway to Hajj and Mecca, it has very diverse culture. It brings in the best of the world and best of the Islamic world. So we had to interact with a lot of people with different backgrounds, with different nationalities, different cultural backgrounds, languages, and it really transforms you, Jeddah especially, into a multicultural, multilinguist, multi-diverse person. And we got to be part of this, and I'm very proud of my time in Saudi Arabia.
You were in the international school?
I was in international, Pakistan Embassy International School, and we got to meet. But the thing is, overall, the society as a whole, it's such a melting pot where you have people who've been settled there from different parts of the world because of the Hajj and Gateway, and being the largest seaport and the trading post in Saudi Arabia before the others were developed, and culturally. So that's the significance of Jeddah. And the word Jeddah itself, it signifies grandmother, which signifies Amma Hawa's presence and being buried. There's a stura, they call it in Arabic, a tale, a folk tale which says that she is buried in Jeddah, and there is a graveyard which is associated with that. So it culturally goes back, and people been, even before the advent of Islam, it was the gateway and the tradeway to the rest of the world. So it's always been very multilingual, multicultural.
So you had an amazing exposure right from start.
From the start.
And but why were you in Saudi? Your father was posted there?
My father was working as a doctor. He was the head of the medical services for Saudi National Guard. Wow. He was very fortunate to be at the pinnacle and start of the Saudi-Pakistan relationship, and the very first doctors to go and join Saudi National Guard from the government of Pakistan. And at that time, Pakistan stood with Saudi Arabia, and that's where these doctors and the engineers who went in that stage back, the
professionals,
in early 60s, they put the foundation of this long-standing relationship, the brotherly relationship we have with Saudi Arabia today. So I'm very proud to be part of that generation. Wow. and a person like him. And he was then personal physician to King Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz. Wow. He served him for a very long time. till my father retired, and then he wanted to come back to Pakistan and serve his nation.
Wow.
And
that's why you're sitting here?
Yes, I am. So it's not by choice.
and how many siblings are you?
I have 4 sisters. I'm the only son.
Oh, you're the only son?
Yes.
And the eldest in the house or the youngest?
I'm the number 2. I have an elder sister, and then I have 3 younger sisters.
Wow. Being the only son, obviously a lot of responsibility on you also, and at the same time, getting that kind of influence from your elder sister and your younger sisters would have been a very varied experience. Your early childhood, in your school days, what was your passion? Were you a naughty kid, or were you a studious, a teacher's pet kind of a student?
Studious and teacher's pet is the least words to be used to describe me. I was mischief. I wanted to be on top of everything.
Okay.
I was well-rounded. I was the team captain. I was the class.
Which game were you in?
Football. We were being in Saudi Arabia. Soccer, football it's what we did, and it's still my passion today. And I think it's the games of games,
Yeah.
And I want to work and to promote football in Pakistan.
Okay.
And we hopefully my desires and one of my wishes is that we take this football to the grassroots in Pakistan.
Yeah, we
and
have
get
a lot
it done,
of
and we
talent.
should be able to. And there's no reason for us to play at the international level.
We have a lot of talent.
There's a lot of talent to be done there.
Yeah.
So I was not studious at all.
You're not
I was
studious.
an average student.
Okay.
Yeah, top 10, but never wanted to become number 1. Never had a desire.
Never in that race.
No.
And who had more influence on you? Your father, your sisters, your mother? Who taught you?
My father was an inspiration. I always looked him the way where he started from, a small village in Miawali in Musakhal, and the position he attained. So he was always an inspiration to me. But the thing is, my real strength is my mother. Where I am today, what the confidence I have today, and skills, I owe it to my mother and my sisters. They are beacon of my strength today also. They teach me. They've been always with me. They have stood by me in thick and thin. And because of them and my mother, I have been able to do what I have done today and take the risks I've taken in life.
Wow. And growing up with a father who's a decorated medical practitioner, I'm sure you always wanted to become a doctor. And that was what was more prevalent those days. You all either wanted to become a doctor, engineer, or go in the forces.
Exactly.
So what was your dream?
On the contrary, he was so busy and he was working so hard that I never wanted to become a doctor. And that's why I never went into being qualified to get into one of the prestigious medical colleges in Punjab at that time. After my FSC, I opted, and I didn't tell anybody, and I opted to become pre-engineering rather than pre-medical. And reason being because we never saw him. He was busy working, doing things. If he wasn't doing medical services, he was doing serving Pakistan community over there. So he was never there for us. So I said, no, I'm going to have an easy life, and I'm not going to become a doctor. But my fate had different plans. So today I'm sitting here running a medical
that we're going to talk about. Yeah, you are running one of the most successful medical colleges and nursing hospitals in Islamabad. So you had decided that you don't want to become a doctor. You grew up, you were good in social skills, in extracurricular activities. Lot of friends? Lot of friends.
I lived to be center of a conversation and the party and to organize and be a center of it. Okay. I lived for others, and they gave me strength being in public, and that's where my leadership skills were developed and I started taking up. And that's where my entrepreneurial skills also developed, because I was very much inclined towards, I had always in mind that eventually I'm going to learn, I'm going to develop, I'm going to learn from the best, but I'm going to have my own legacy and my own business, and I'm going to produce and be somebody different. Okay. That's always what drives me.
Wow.
When people said it can't be done, that's what actually motivated me.
You never stop dreaming. Like you have to dream big, and that's
what I keep on telling people. Yeah. The thing is, the dream is actually what led. It was the impossible. But the thing is, you get up in the morning, you try to make that dream into a reality. And that's been my motto. I keep on telling people that don't stop dreaming. And that's what my environment, my father, seeing him, what he was doing with the limited resources and being a Pakistani in Saudi Arabia and reaching to that, it was the dream, the hard work.
Great.
And getting up. And that's what motivated me. And that's all my story of my childhood.
Right.
It's being that.
You did your O-levels from the same school?
I did matriculation and then
after
FSC.
that, FSC from the same school?
Yes.
And then after FSC, what did you do?
I went to United States
Okay.
to do to University of South Carolina.
For engineering?
For engineering.
You had decided by then that you want to become an engineer?
Exactly. And so I defied. And again, like you said, I was if I had a choice at that time, I would have done something else. But the thing is, I had two choices. Because I was not becoming a doctor, I had to become an engineer.
Okay, yeah, there were only three choices.
Three choices. Armed, because I was not in Pakistan, so I couldn't be in the armed services. So I went for engineering.
But why not an engineering university in Pakistan? Like, I'm sure your dad must have discussed it at that time.
Yes, again, people told me I can't go to States.
So it was a challenge.
It was a challenge. I qualified and went there. My father wanted me to come to Pakistan. My mother wanted me to come to Pakistan because they wanted my roots to be strong with Pakistan. And their fear was that living all my life in Saudi Arabia and then moving on to, I would not be a Pakistani. But the thing is, they installed that spirit in me. I was always a Pakistani. Even holding a Saudi nationality, I was always I identified myself as a Pakistani. And it was a challenge because I was not supposed to go to the United States. So I went to the United States to do that, to prove a lot of people wrong.
And which university did you go to?
University of South Carolina. Again, very small campus university, away from the tradition because people at that time, they preferred to be in the big cities in New York, in Washington, D.C.s, in California's, and Boston's and Chicago's of United States. I picked a campus university because again, I wanted to have a unique experience, a true American experience. And it definitely led me to that. It helped me do that. Okay. And today I enjoy a lot of understanding of American culture and their thinking because I went to the heartland of America.
But there's another reason also, because you had some very famous people studying with you.
Yes, with South Carolina, we recently had the ex-governor of South Carolina running for the presidential, Nikki Haley. Then we had Senator Tom Thurmond. I had a very good relationship. I have very good friends. They are in the government right now, Tom Young and all that. And Ted Felders of the world, the Felders. So I was being in that small place. I had very good chance of relating and understanding the thinking and the political process and how it goes. And I could get access to all these people. And today it's very beneficial I use those connections for Pakistan, for betterment of business community in Pakistan and getting them access. And I'm very proud of that.
You were Miss Haley's campaign manager also, if I'm not
when
mistaken.
she was yes
in the college,
good old days, yeah, when she was running for college.
Must have developed a very strong linkage, huh?
It do. Not only her, but there are several others names which we had very good relationship, and I'm very proudly said and to be friends with all these good names.
Very nice. So you completed your engineering in 5 years from that university?
Yes, I did.
And after that, you were a certified engineer. What did you do?
Well, I came back to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. To practice your engineering?
To practice my engineering. But the thing is, again, fate had something else decided. The organizations I worked for, they had different idea. They thought I was much better in doing business development and management than I was an engineer. Okay. And so I went into that field and kept on working. I had the privilege and honor to work on some of the major projects. Sent Gas project, which is Turkmenistan, Pakistan oil and gas project, pipeline project. I was the first country manager based out of Ashgabat. When at that time, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif went to Ashgabat to sign that contract with His Excellency, the President of Turkmenistan, Niazi, I was there. I held that signing ceremony at the tender age of 22.
Oh, okay.
And being one of the 4.5 billion country manager on a 4.5 billion project at that age, it gave me a lot of experience, a lot of exposure. And from there on, never did engineering also. Became business development, management, and marketing.
By default?
Communication, by default. And I continued my career from there on.
And did you want to develop yourself in terms of education? Like, did you get a business degree from?
No, never did.
Never did. You just changed and you got experience.
Yeah, the thing is, at some stage, and I always advise young people right now, at some stage, education gets you a certain level. Then it's your hard work, it's your experience that defines you, where you go and how you do. Because you know, the working, when you do a job and you work, it's an entirely different world than what you see in the books, and implications and all this stuff. And you have to have yourself open. And you can't say that I'm an engineer, I'm going to do engineering also. What I did was, what opportunity ever came to me, I took advantage of that. And I excelled in that. And I made that opportunity mine.
Okay.
And that's what helped me develop and get to these things. And perseverance. You know, it's one thing which I think has been my biggest tool in my success. I'm not afraid to fail. And every failure is my learning experience.
That's
the
a dilemma,
best
actually.
learning experience I can have is through success. I say, hides a lot of learning opportunities.
Yes.
Because if you're successful, you're not learning. You're just
not
enjoying
learning,
the glowing.
And the graph cannot be on like vertical.
Exactly.
Always. Yeah.
When you fail, when you don't achieve the goals you set yourself, that's where you actually learn, and you have to evaluate yourself. Why didn't I get that? Why didn't I was not able to accomplish that? And I think that's started defining my career path, and the industry and the corporate sector started seeing that, and then the opportunities kept on opening up, and I kept on moving up.
So from Saudi you moved to Turkmenistan?
Yes, I was in
Ashgabat?
Central Asia, all over. Not only Turkmenistan.
Because of your job, you just went there?
Traveling everywhere. Any stan you can name it. I was in Azerbaijan, I was in Turkmenistan, I was
all the
in
cars?
all the Kazakhstans and Afghanistans and Pakistans.
Okay.
So again, this is what it is. Because I was willing to go where nobody else wanted to go, it gave me an opportunity to travel the world, see the world, work with the world, and this diversity of working people. Every nationality I worked with, the Azeris were different than Turkmens, the Turkmens were different than the Kazakhs were different than Pakistanis, the Pakistanis were different than Americans were different than Saudis. So working with all these people, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't achieve that experience if I was not willing to let myself develop and put myself out there and take risks and take advantage of these things. So that I have let that be my strength to take forward, and that's what have led me to this diversified experience.
And how did you cope up with the fact that being the only son, usually like very cherished possession of the parents, they usually don't let him out of sight. So how did you manage to dupe your mom and dad into letting you go and travel over the world and be away from home at such a young age?
In fact, they encouraged me. They
They
wanted
did?
me to learn.
Oh, okay.
They wanted me to be out there, especially the type of experience I was getting by traveling the world and working in different environments. Sometimes it becomes a little awkward for me to talk about it also, because you name a country and I'm going to say, I have done a project there or I have worked there. And people really get shocked. They said, don't talk to Yasir, because he's going to say, oh, I did a project here. I used to work here. This was my office here, and I did this. And they encouraged me. They never said, I know they felt. My father wanted me to be by his side. First of all, he wanted me to be a doctor to start with, and then I became an engineer. But the thing is, once I decided, he stood by me, and he encouraged me. And like I said, it was his life story which was aspiration for me, and I wanted to be somebody he can be proud of.
Wow. Okay, cool. And so this continued till when? All this extravaganza, all this traveling, this business development all over the world, this continued for how many years? 3 years, 4 years, 6 years before?
Oh no, for 22 years.
22 years?
Yes, it took me through 5 multinationals, 12 different countries, 5 different industries, from from FMCH, from oil and gas to start with St. Gas Unocal project, to Pepsi Cola, to Procter & Gamble, to British American Tobacco, to Saudi American Bank, which is Samba now, to Abraj Capital, one of the leading private equity firms, and now in healthcare.
That's what I wanted to know. So all these were like, finance related, like banking sector, Abraj exactly. Capital, Samba, and all that stuff. How did you switch to the healthcare sector?
Well, that's where my world travel ended in 2007.
2007?
In 2007, when I decided to move to Pakistan and take over this project and help my father bring this project to reality.
That was your father's
dream.
request,
Yes.
dream, vision?
I came here, he was having a lot of challenges in this project. I actually initially came in, to be honest, to convince him to go back to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
But he came in and we were talking and he said, son, I want to leave back a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I have done a lot for a lot of people. Now it's time for me to pay back to my country, which made me who I am today, which gave me the identity. It is because before I was Dr. Akbar Khan Niazi, I was a Pakistani, and it's time for me to pay back. So that was the words which made me decide that if he wants to leave a legacy, then I want to be part of that legacy, and I moved to Pakistan in 2007.
Must be a tough decision.
It was, and I went through a lot of emotion. I think it was one of the most toughest decisions I made.
In your life?
I went in my life. I went through, because I was at the peak of my career. I was flying around the world. I had luxuries of the world I wanted. I was meeting up with head of states. And suddenly to come into a greenfield project where, in a country which I was unfamiliar with, I didn't have friends here. I had relatives, a lot of them, and they had a role to play, but I didn't have friends as such. In Pakistan, to come in and go through the whole growth process, relearning, understanding, adopting, and from being on the pinnacle of luxury life, living on
everything on your
marina in Dubai to living in my parents' basement. It was a big transition for me, and it was a very hard and emotional and psychological journey.
But a conscious decision.
A conscious decision, and I stuck to it, and I stayed here, and it was my perseverance, my experience, the whole 22 years of experience before I came to Pakistan. I gathered the international. I had to bring each one of them, everything I learned so far, into action.
What was the first impression of coming to Pakistan and living here for some time? I'm sure you would have been visiting before, but coming here to settle down and getting to the basics, establishing a business, looking around, meeting people, making friends, how was that the first 3 months? What was the impression?
Very challenging, but beautiful. And I was going like, what was I doing anywhere in the world? Because the thing is, the luxury, the life, the challenge, the people, and the environment, even the business environment. And I kept on telling my friends who tried to convince me to go back, I kept on saying, Pakistan is not the problem, is not the opportunity. The problem is where to start from, because there's so much opportunity in Pakistan. And I'm a prime example of it. We made it we started in 2007, and I now sit here in one of the most successful healthcare organizations. It started with a medical college, and now it's a healthcare company, public non-traded healthcare company within just a short span of time with such a limited resources. Could I do this in Saudi Arabia or in the United States? No, absolutely not. It's only Pakistan which gave me that opportunity and strength. And at every stage, I met people who was ready to hold my hands, to take me through, and I never found somebody who would not encourage me and help me out.
So here we have a doctor, we have an individual who's an engineering graduate, did specialization in business development by virtue of his experience, and then shifted to medical field, healthcare field, and he's not a doctor. Well, that's a rare one. Anyways, we'll continue our talk with Mr. Yasir Khan Niazi. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sky's the Limit. This is Syed FAROOQ Hasan. I'm in conversation with Mr. Yasir Khan Niazi, who's a healthcare and medical education expert. He's running 5 medical colleges and 2 hospitals in Islamabad. A very, very successful entrepreneur who by qualification is an engineer, specializes in business development and is now in healthcare. I find this in itself a very rare combination. So, Yasir bhai, tell me one thing. You came to Pakistan on your, to join your father and establish this beautiful medical college in the foothills of Murray. How was the experience? What were the challenges? And what were the challenges in the healthcare sector at that time?
Yeah, it was beautiful. The location was excellent. There were a lot of challenges when we started. One was lack of regulation. Because regulation was all over the place. So set up and standardized quality institution was very difficult, very confusing. And not only we had to work on getting this institution off the ground and working. At the same time, we had to work with the regulators and all this stuff to get the standards and qualities and to this and have the regulations in place also. Sometimes we lobbied, sometimes we went to the courts, sometimes we had fights with the regulators. So it was very challenging, but at the same time we kept on moving forward. The vision here was to combine 2 things. My father, the chairman, what he had was he wanted to combine education and health, which was his forte. And that's why we decided to start with medical education. It's a long journey. We started as a medical school, then we started a dental school, then we established a nursing college, and then we established this our dental hospital, which is 100-chair hospital, one of very unique and few hospitals to provide comprehensive dental care at one spot. And
I've heard of dental clinics, but dental hospitals are very rare.
First, and a dental hospital which introduced emergency services. 24 hours, which was very unique concept for dentistry in Pakistan, because it was very individual doctor-led things. And suddenly we bring in and we said, no, it's going to be a hospital where the patient is going to come in and he gets every kind of possible dental care and all. And we had a very successful experience with that. Then we moved on to establish Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital, which is again was very essential as a teaching tool for our medical students, because that's where their clinical training happens. At the same time, and with the concept of service in mind, we established this 500-bed hospital here in FAROOQ. And again, the challenges were many. We wanted to set it up FAROOQ. People said it's not going to make commercial sense. There were a lot of other challenges also. And another challenge was that how do you differentiate quality from the rest? And how do you define in healthcare? Because the regulatory environment is evolving when it comes to the hospitals here. And we are always at the forefront of helping the government and the agencies in developing those quality regulations. And then we looked at, and then when we were going through, it was an evolutionary process.
Okay.
So as we learned, we learned that it's a spectrum of healthcare. It's not medical college, it's not a hospital. In order to deliver a quality hospital, you have to have a spectrum of...
You're in for much more than you bargained for.
So we evolved from just a hospital and medical college into a healthcare. And working from education all the way to health financing. And that's how we developed this organization. Like I said, I had to rely on any small things I learned when I was working with different multinationals across the globe and to bring them here. And then we evolved into this comprehensive healthcare, which works in the full spectrum of health care delivery to become Akbar Niazi GAK Healthcare International. And our aim is not only to be a regional, a national player, but regional and international, and to have a mark globally and put Pakistan healthcare on the world map.
Okay, healthcare is a very, very complex subject, and especially in Pakistan, it has its own challenges. But I think the way I see it, I think after this first experience, you became such an expert that you replicated it in 5 times. Yeah? You've got 5 medical colleges now?
5 college, healthcare, medical related.
Medical related.
Not medical colleges.
Okay.
One is, I think,
okay.
To deliver one quality medical college is very challenging.
It's a tough task.
And it's never done. Because in education, you evolve. You cannot establish a quality educational institution. Educational institutions are made over centuries.
Yes.
The names we heard, the big names we hear today,
ones, yeah.
they're not created today. They were created centuries ago. So it's an ever evolutionary developing stage. But the thing is, you never stop innovating. One of the key things we have is that continuous improvement. The concept, the Japanese concept of Kaizen, where we have to look at. One thing we did was that the American concept of if it's not broken, don't fix it, we threw that out. We said we will look at everything we do and we will find a better way to do it every day.
Proactive approach.
Proactive approach. We have to be the agents of change. We have to drive the change rather than the change driving us. And that's what leading us, that's the philosophy we have. We want to be the thought leaders.
Yeah.
We want to be introducing new concepts into the healthcare industry, whether it's health education or it's patient care and patient care delivery, or it's health retail and delivery of healthcare at the maximum way, or even artificial intelligence and health technology.
Yep.
So we want to be at the forefront, and that's what we do. We work in and we keep on improving it every day.
So right now we have a lot of medical colleges now in Pakistan. I think probably 20, 30 years back there were only just a handful, 3, 4 you could count on fingers, but now we have a lot of medical colleges in all over Pakistan for that matter, even in remote cities. Do you think the number of doctors that we are producing, the quality and the number of doctors that are they now sufficient to cater to our population? What's the given industry ratio, and how is this field evolving?
Medical education is ever evolving. Do we have enough doctors? No. We are far beyond the ratios set by WHO and others. And if you look at the disparity between urban and rural, again, it's huge. We see a lot of doctors in the urban areas, and we think we have a lot of doctors. But the minute you get off the motorway, that's when you realize that the disparity between not only the number, but the quality as well. And provision of quality care in the rural areas is a challenge. It's the challenge which is facing any government as well as the private sector. And it is. Number of medical colleges we have, it is very well needed. We need 1 doctor for every 1,000 people, according to WHO, and we have 1 doctor for every 1,400 in Pakistan. So still there is a need on that. And so doctor is something else. Dentist, if you come to nursing, and if you come to the paramedicals, the ratio is it's out completely. We need at least 300,000 more nurses in Pakistan to deliver quality care, because the patient care is not doctors. The hospital care and patient care is nursing and paramedical. And for a very long time we neglected this field. Now with private sector coming in, we are not there yet. I'm not going to sit here and claim that yes, everything is okay with that. But the thing is, at least there's a start and there's a desire in improvement, because the competition has started. So we are coming in and doing that. Medical education still, I think, is the biggest Pakistan strength. And the doctors in Pakistan are still globally very much recognized.
I wanted to second that statement of yours, because whenever I go to USA, America, and I meet the APNA delegation, I think we have probably the few of the best doctors in the world, for that matter, world acclaimed. And I was just thinking the other day that Pakistan produces a lot of doctors every year, and they do so well internationally, but when I talk about Pakistan, the list of names is not that unending. It's limited. The number of like doctors who have really made a mark. Why is that? All the good doctors go out?
Excellent question. I'm glad you asked. Because the opportunities are not here. And why the opportunities are not here? 60% of the Pakistan population pays out of pocket. So the innovation and the technology which is required, it's not affordable. And that's why the healthcare is not developing as fast as, and technology is not being introduced as fast, because that is all related to cost. And we had a very revolutionary program, which is the Universal Health Insurance Program, which is at different stages, it had different names, but latestly it was called Sehat Surat Program. We need that kind of program. Until and unless this balance of out of pocket will be reduced, we can't give opportunities to our doctors to a level which international, globally they can get. And second thing is research, is the development. Pakistan still lacks a lot of discipline and culture of research and developing. That's what actually attracts the brain and the doctors, is that they get more opportunity to develop research and be innovative in the rest of the world. For us, especially the private sector, the challenge is that we need to create an environment where we bring back these doctors to Pakistan. And we need to create the economical, financial, career development opportunities for them, and to attract these people back to Pakistan. And this is what I keep on telling the governments also. One of the quickest ways to earn, for us to earn foreign exchange, is to leverage our health, the standing, the global standing we have, and the respect we have for healthcare and health education of Pakistan. We can attract international students into our health education system. We should. And it can bring us a lot of foreign exchange. But instead, we lose students to China and other countries, and this is an exodus of foreign exchange. Rather than bringing in, we are losing it. And same is with health tourism. People do not realize that health tourism is globally a $200 billion industry. And Pakistan doesn't have any share of it. India, we talk about, has earned $19 billion in 2019 through health tourism. Turkey is the most successful model of health tourism. $36 billion in contribution to GDP through health tourism. They have become now a prime destination from the rest of the Europe and United States for health tourism and globally. Pakistan can do that. But the thing is, it's not government's job. It's us, the private sector, has to realize the potential, has to develop and create those hospitals, the facilities to attract the environment, to attract these international patients to come in and do that. Our doctors are no match. I still think that one of the people who really can change, not that because my father is a doctor too also, but the thing is, I think it's something which we really can globally leverage, and we should.
And we should leverage.
Yeah, and we should leverage that. And second is medical education. We have very good government sector, especially the public sector has very good institution now. A lot of private sector institutions are coming up to that level. We have now developing our curriculum to modernizing it. We are bringing in the best faculty here, these things. So again, it just needs a consolidated efforts to bring in these things, and we can really put Pakistan on the global map through healthcare.
And that brings me to my next question. Like every year when a student completes his or her FSC pre-medical, there's a war going on to get admission in medical colleges. And like I see a lot of students, crying that, oh, I just couldn't make it because of 1 mark. I was short of 1 mark. And this is the grade. How does your college rank in terms of giving admissions to these pre-med students?
We are very proud. We are one of the top medical colleges when it comes to merit admission, and we are sought after. Admission process is one of the most difficult one for me. I usually go out of Pakistan when admissions are happening because of the pressure of people. I wish every student who comes in, I can give him an admission, but unfortunately we can't. We have to hold standards, and we have limited seats. And some of these confusion happens I will address it 2 or 3 different levels. One is, first, there's not major counseling, career counseling happening at the high school level. The only thing they see is success of medical doctors and opportunities, and one of the main gateways to the going outside the world and these things. So they are attracted very big time into the medical profession, and we are not giving them alternative within the medical field. And we don't tell them about medical research. We don't talk about genetic engineering. We don't talk about nuclear medicine. We don't talk about, there are a lot of other fields we can go in. Now rehabilitation sciences, we started this. It's a vast field. It's a global field, and people are doing a lot. In Pakistan, it's still at a very early, premature stage. We still treat it only as physiotherapy. But rehabilitation is not physiotherapy. Is more than physiotherapy, much more than that. But we can't explain to the, because there is no career counseling. Colleges like ours also, we don't make an effort to go into high schools and present these alternatives. Nursing globally, it's a huge demand for nurses. And now the concept of practitioner nurses are being adopted by NHS and US, and it's helping expand healthcare to the rural areas where doctors can't be made available, or the doctors are expensive. So practitioner nursing concepts are coming up. It's still a foreign concept in Pakistan, and we are resisting that. We can't. And again, in nursing, I will have to say the grade levels, the economical, financial benefit, it's not there to attract better students.
The commercial side,
the economic side of it. So we need to balance this. You know, we need to balance the spectrum. We need to understand importance, and traditionally all the importance has been given up. And then the last one I would say is the ever-changing regulatory regime. For the last 5 years, there have been 5 different admission policies. MDCAT, no MDCAT, centralized MDCATs, provisional MDCATs, percentage of MDCAT changing, these things. This also have led a lot of confusion among students. And that's where the exploitation of the students happen. And that's why we need to have a stable type of a thing. Let it go. We will find out if it's right or wrong. In 1 year, you cannot find out if this policy works or not. Yeah. You have to give it 5 years for it to mature, and then you make the small changes, and it has to be evolutionary. We, for some reason, believe in revolutionary changes. Suddenly,
overnight.
Overnight,
we should get results also overnight.
Exactly. But healthcare, education is something which is, I keep on emphasizing, is an evolutionary process. One time, one student, one curriculum, one course at a time. We can't change overnight and expect something to happen. It takes time to mature a small changes.
Touched upon some of the major challenges in the health sector also. You received the President of Pakistan Award for excellent performance in overall healthcare sector and healthcare digitalization. What do you mean when you say healthcare digitalization?
There are 2 things in digitalization. One is access to healthcare through using digitalization. Online app-driven these things. And consultation. Again, this concept came in when we look at the disparity index between urban and rural. And one of the things which we thought as Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital is to increase our access of our doctors. We need to digitalize ourselves. We need to have digital presence. And what we did was we went in and we used 2. One was the app, which is free of service, free consultation you get through our app. You dial in, and it's the first app which has live. When you dial in, you get a live doctor. You don't have to make an appointment. So and secondly, what we in the front line of healthcare are the family physicians or GPs who are sitting in these rural areas. So we went in and we digitalized those GPs. We gave them consultancy, consultation and consultative care on top of what they were providing. So if they have a case which they feel that I need to talk to a cardiac consultant, they are provided through online consultations. The doctor is there, his GP is there, and the consultant is there. And the third we have done is global linkage. Okay. We introduced that. We have bone marrow transplant, which is when the patient comes in, it has a global team which discusses the case. From Italy, US, India, Malaysia, all the experts come in and the case is decided and the line of action is decided. And then we were very successful of doing this during COVID. Every case of COVID which came to Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital was discussed with 5 teams, one in America, one in UK, one in Germany, Pakistan, as well as in Malaysia, and we were helping them treat their cases.
And
they were helping. So it was a global
consultative process.
And the second one is artificial intelligence, which is the future of healthcare.
The future of every field for that.
Exactly. It's more efficient, it's more accurate, it does not have the human error which can occur, and we need to move. A country like Pakistan, the problem, the solution to our healthcare issues, because we cannot generate enough human resource. So we need to rely on artificial intelligence to provide healthcare in nick and corners of Pakistan, and that's the best way to do it. Where your expertise changes and you help and you garner artificial intelligence to help you with these things. So that's what we mean when Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital talk about digitalization. That's what we mean, and that's why we have we have set up a special division which is continuously doing research, developing, and we are not reinventing the wheel. We are looking at the global experience, bringing them in Pakistan, testing them, and say that they are applicable to Pakistan environment, and then launching them. And
that's the logical way to go about it. How about your hospital? How is it different from other hospitals? Because I've heard stories where, poor patients get ripped off if they go to a hospital and they discover that they don't have enough money to pay the bill. It's so expensive. What about your hospital?
We are different. That's why we call ourselves a concept hospital. And what we are looking at is not only Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital. We have launched a hub and spoke model. We are looking at multiple hospitals. Right now, the strategy to deploy that is differently. We thought we will go into greenfield hospitals and establish our own hospitals, but now we are looking at merger and acquisition because of the speed we want to go in. What we are value volume proposition.
Okay.
We give you value to gain volume.
Okay.
And that's why we lower the value and cost to the patient. So you are more efficient and these things. The analogy you can use when you talk about is budget airline. What do the passenger of budget airline wants to get from one place to another safely, on time, but affordable price. That is the concept. We will not give you perks, but we will give you quality, standardized healthcare. And we say, and with another word we use is healthcare for all. We want Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital is accessible to all. So our rates, to develop the volume, we benchmark not against private hospital, we benchmark ourselves against the public hospitals and the expenses, the government hospitals. And we index ourselves to 80% of government charges. So
it's cheaper to come here
than to the government hospital. But at the same time, we are ISO certified. We are now going for JCI accreditation. And we are saying that no, we are not only going to give you cheap and affordable healthcare, we are going to give you standardized quality healthcare at that price.
And what if someone can't even afford to pay that government hospital fee also?
Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital is a zero refusal hospital.
Zero refusal?
Yes, you walk in, you can't afford, you will not be denied treatment.
Even if you don't pay?
If you don't pay. And it comes shocking to some of the doctors. I won't, without taking names, we had a doctor who joined us from another prestigious high-level hospital here. And she came in and there was a patient and non-affording patient. So her juniors, she came in and joined as a head of department. And the junior doctor came in and they took the patient in. She goes like, but she can't pay. Should we get permissions? And they told her, no, this is Akbar Niazi Teaching Hospital. Everybody get treated. Wow. So we don't ask the patient if they can pay or not.
That's amazing.
And that's the spirit we want to keep in. Our chairman's guidance is that we should not refuse anybody's patient, but we have to self-sustain. We do not do charity drives. We do not take zakat. This is a self-sustained model, so it can be replicated.
Great.
So it's not charity-based. It's a business model which replicates itself in a self-sustained model, so it can grow and develop itself.
That's amazing.
And that's why it makes it different than There are success models in the world. I'm not saying it's unique. We have Apollo groups in India, we have in Malaysia, we have in Turkey, where these models have been replicated and they're very much successful. And we want to bring in, because we want to go into the rural areas, and you can't sustain that only on charity based. And we want it to be free of personalities and do its own.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, a very lot to talk about, but paucity of time. Unfortunately, our program has limited time, but it was an amazing experience sharing your life journey and such an inspirational story, serving in multiple geographies and then changing fields and then being successful at the same time and doing something for humanity for that matter. Healthcare is actually serving humanity. What message would you like to give to the youngsters of Pakistan?
Is dream.
Dream big.
Dream big. But the thing is, not only dream, then wake up in the morning and try to make that dream a reality. It's in your reach. Nothing is impossible. You have to be learn the right skills, have the right education, develop, but at the same time, develop patience and perseverance. Success doesn't come overnight. You have to work for it, and do not be afraid of failing, because that gives you the lesson you will never learn before.
Great. Nothing is impossible, and of course, sky is the limit. Yasir, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope, I'm sure a lot of youngsters will get inspiration from hearing your story, and they would probably want to copy in your footsteps. Thank you very much once again. With this, we come to the end of this episode of Sky's the Limit. Inshallah, I'll see you in another episode. Till then, Allah Hafiz.